Hi, welcome to Exploring the Illusion of Free Will. My name is George Ortega, and this is episode number 182, Free Will and Addiction. And so, as we do, Chandler, Klebs is going to be doing a special segment, a 12-minute segment. So basically, he's going to be explaining to you why just the fact that we get addicted to things, whether it's like to food or to alcohol or to work or whatever, that's a good way of understanding how we don't have a free will. All right, so Chandler's going to do his clip, and he's doing a great job, incidentally. These next 3 episodes that we're taping today, he's doing clips on each of them, and he's he's really nailing it. He's really getting the points down. He's doing an excellent job just explaining it in detail. Anyway, all right, so we'll go to Chandler's clip now, and then we'll go back. And since he covered this so well, I think I'm just going to talk extemporaneously about other matters related to why we don't have free will. All right, well, take it away, Chandler, and we'll be back after that. Okay, thanks.
Hi, I'm Chandler Klebs, and in this video, I want to talk about addiction. How people are addicted to things. You know, they might be addicted to smoking cigarettes. They might be addicted to alcohol. Some people are addicted to sex. Some people are addicted to religion. Some people, like me, are addicted to the topic of determinism and free will. Okay, so I record videos because I'm addicted. So, when you're addicted to something, you keep doing it because there's something you get out of it. You have a desire to do something, and so you keep doing it. There's some reason that you do it, And this is a very important thing to understand, because, you could say that, I really have never understood people who, smoke or drink alcohol. And so, in the past, I was kind of I guess judgmental, I blame people, well, these people are so stupid, because they smoke cigarettes and drink alcohol and all this stuff. And I'm just well, why don't they do that? Why don't they just quit? Why don't they just quit, wasting their money on things that damage their health and all that, And I thought it would just be that easy. I thought that, oh yeah, anybody could just quit an addiction, but well, that was because back then I didn't understand the illusion of free will. I didn't understand that it's really a totally deluded concept. Because if people had a free will, they could make choices independently of anything outside of their control, which includes chemical addictions to a substance. Seriously, people crave, I guess people they crave cigarettes, they crave alcohol, they can crave, I guess, other drugs like cocaine or whatever. I don't even know that much about drug addiction, so anything I say about drug addiction, don't take it too seriously. Because I've never been addicted to some kind of drug like that, But the point is, I want to apologize to people, sort of, because even though it's not my fault that I judged them in the past, because I was ignorant of the causes. I didn't understand, why people are the way they are, and I thought, hey, people could just quit. Yeah, just quit smoking, and well, obviously that doesn't work that way, because if it was that easy for people to quit an addiction like that, they would do that. If they could, they would. I'm serious. I thought about this, and I thought, wait a minute. People who are addicted to smoking cigarettes, they spend a lot of money on cigarettes, and so obviously that money could be put to better use. The money that they spend on cigarettes could be put to some other use. They could use it to buy more food, or music, or episodes of My Little Pony, or something. They could give that money to someone else who needs it more than them. There's all kinds of things that they could do with the money if they could make themselves quit smoking. Well, that's why I finally came to the understanding that they can't do it that easily. Now, they may want to. They may want to quit smoking, but that doesn't mean that they can just drop it Like there has to, some people need help. Like, some people, like they may go to some special program with people who may be trained in helping people how to quit an addiction. So hey, if there's programs like that and they work for you, that's cool. Talk to somebody who knows something about that. I'm all for that. Anything that helps people overcome addictions so that they are free from that. Because I'll tell you what, we don't have free will, but we can still be free from certain things. Many people have gotten over addictions, like somehow they were able to find the strength. They had to get the will, not a free will. That's the thing is, that because there's always a reason. People don't do things without a reason. You know what? There comes a time when somebody is like, wait, this addiction is ruining my life. So then like, I'm going to do something about it. Whatever it takes, they will do something about it. Sometimes they spend a lot of time and money just seeking help to get over their addiction, whatever it may be. So that's great if it works for them. But that's the thing is, if people had a free will, they could just quit. I mean, seriously. I mean, wouldn't that just be nice if people could just get over their addictions? Like, and okay, I've talked a little bit about alcohol and cigarette addictions, but what about other kinds of addictions? Like, I don't know, maybe an addiction to a TV show. Well, not really too much of a problem for me. I don't watch TV, you know. Um, but but something else. Like now, if an addiction isn't harming anyone, who cares? Like if you happen to be addicted to watching grass grow, well, that's fine. I mean, if it's not interfering with other things in your life, then that's fine. But hey, if you enjoy watching grass grow, well, cool for you. There's lots of grass to watch grow. So not every addiction's bad. I think there can be good and bad addictions, and how the difference between what's good and bad is, hey, what's causing pain? If what you're doing is not hurting you or anybody else, if there's no pain, it's not bad. Then I guess it's good. So that's really how it works. If it's bringing you pleasure and nobody else pain, then hey, go for it. I mean, I guess not every addiction is bad, but some of them are. So I mean that's pretty much it. I mean. So, but the point is people don't choose their desires. They don't choose their addictions. And people think they do, and if you think people are choosing their addictions, well, then you gotta think, well, wait a minute. How is that? And that's interesting. Like, if somebody went back into the history of somebody's addicted to any type of thing, no matter what that thing is, well, there had to be a cause, a start. Well, when did they start smoking? When did they start drinking alcohol? When did they start watching grass grow? Whatever it is. I'm sure there's plenty of addictions. Yeah, I've heard of something called kleptomania, where someone's addicted to stealing. I don't know how that works. But, the point is, there's always has to be some point in their life when that addiction started. And that's important to know, because if you know how an addiction starts for people and that addiction is harmful, well, then you try to set things up so that the same circumstances don't happen for the next generation. You know what I mean? Because that's just it. The problem is the reason that change doesn't happen so easily is because a lot of people make a lot of money off of addictions. Some people are addicted to cigarettes, some people are addicted to alcohol, and some people are addicted to pornography, I guess. So it's like people who sell these things make a lot of money. So they have a financial interest, a motive, a reason, a cause for why they keep promoting these things. They want people to be addicted to these things so they keep making money. That's their business. And so what it amounts to is like, okay, I understand their reasoning for why they want to make money, because that's the way this world is set up. But if the way you make money is one that kills people, well, you know what? I have a problem with that. I think a lot of people have a problem with that when they become addicted to something. And I think all addictions are basically against people's will. They're against their causal will. Because, I mean, really, there's a lot of bad addictions. And if an addiction hurts people's friendships or it just hurts their health, and kills them sooner than they would die otherwise, well, then that's a problem. And that's why addiction is so dangerous. And I mean, I don't know that much about all the kinds of addictions. I'm sure there are people who know a lot more about that. But seriously, like if people could just overcome addiction just magically overnight or something, I think they would just all have done that a long time ago. So yeah, I don't think that getting over any addiction is easy. I mean, I think there's got to be a way that works for people, and it's probably not the same for everybody because their genetics and their conditioning, their nature and nurture, the way that they are wired, the way they got started with their addiction will be different, and the way that they get over an addiction will probably be different too. So, that's just my thoughts about addiction and how, everything has a cause and we don't have free will. And so it's not as easy for people to get over an addiction to something, even though in the past it looked to me like they could just quit. But it doesn't work that way. And that's something I've learned. And so that's just, what I think about it at the time. And so you may agree or disagree, but, hey, that's just one more example of why if we did have a free will, we could probably do things like that would just be, it'd be so easy. You just quit doing whatever it is that's harming you or somebody else. Life would be so easy and ideal that way. Yeah, but that's not the way it works.
Okay, thank you, Chandler. That was an excellent presentation. And again, he explained it so well. I mean, like how do you explain addiction? People don't freely choose to become addicted to things, whether it's like alcohol or overeating or watching too much TV or being on the internet or whatever. Recently, I'm addicted to this, well, whatever. But no, this internet thing, this app. Anyway, so all right. So yeah, Chandler explained it really well. I mean, just addiction is just one way of demonstrating. I mean, like if we had a free will, come on, we would not be addicted to things that are harmful to us. We wouldn't overeat, we wouldn't overdrink, all right, it's clear. All right, so what I'd like to talk about is, I want to talk about what's going on in science in general, because I was at Barnes & Noble yesterday, and I was looking through a Philosophy Now magazine, I think it was like the December, January issue. And it's got a book review about somebody a philosopher has just written a book defending free will. And the argument that this person uses, and I don't remember it, I think it's a woman, I don't remember her name, I don't remember the person who wrote it, but the idea is, the argument that this person uses to try to defend free will is that she says, well, determinism, causality hasn't been proven. I mean, you hear this. You've heard this for decades. But, and this is an enigma. This is a puzzle. This may be even a bigger puzzle than this idea of free will. Why wouldn't have free will? So, I mean, why wouldn't have free will? It's so clear. I mean, the puzzle is for example, you would think this woman's a PhD. She's like an academic. And so is the person who reviewed it, and the people on the editorial board of Philosophy Now are all academics with PhDs. And you would think that they would understand that attempting to refute causality, attempting to say that we haven't proved determinism, that maybe not all things are caused, is a way to defend free will. How they can reach that conclusion is a mystery because it's so absurd. The simple answer to that is let's say, And basically what they're saying, when you try to refute causality, what you're saying is some things happen without a cause. Nothing is causing them to happen. Our thoughts are being, uncaused, whatever. And so, like, basically they're saying that. So first of all, and even it's almost as if it's magic. They're almost saying that, like, well, things just happen magically. But even magic would be a cause, But anyway, but aside from that, so if we were to accept that as a premise, which is so absurd, then what are we left with? We're left with, all right, what we act, our decisions, our thoughts, what we do, our actions, what are uncaused. That's basically, that's what you arrive at is if you attempt to deny or refute determinism or causality. And the absurd thing about that is, like, as the defense for free will is like, well, if what we're doing doesn't have a cause, we are clearly not causing what we're doing. It's uncaused. So a free will cannot be causing, our actions. And how these academics don't get this is beyond me. And this isn't a trivial matter because, like, these, it's not Scientific American did an online survey, about 4,000 respondents recently. I just noticed that they posted the results, I think, a week ago or so, whatever. And, among people who go to their site, and you would think they were versed in science, only 40% of them understand that free will is an illusion. 60% of the respondents to this poll, this survey, believe that they have free will. Now why is this not trivial? This is an age where, again, like I've done shows about this, the defining issue of our time for decades, not just for now, but for next decade and decade after that and decade after that, is going to be climate change. And we have answers. They're coming up with a lot of innovations that we can use to basically, address and mitigate climate change. To adapt to it, whatever. The answers are there, but the problem is that academia, the people who are on the chairs of the different philosophy, psychology departments, the academians, the PhDs who are editors of many of the peer-reviewed journals that publish scientific findings, if these quote-unquote leaders don't understand that free will is an illusion, if these people don't understand a concept as simple as causality, don't understand it, refuse to understand it, deny it, whatever, that doesn't bode well for our action on climate change because, again, we have solutions. We have solutions that can be implemented. We need to do more. But the problem is that, for example, like here in the United States, Pew Research did a poll in 2014, and they discovered that about 56% of Americans deny that climate change is happening and deny that human beings are causing it. Now, the problem with that is that, like, whether or not how sufficiently we address climate change has a great deal to do with our accepting it and understanding that it's happening. Basically, because, like, the reason it's so important is because, like, it's all political. In other words, like, the politicians, as long as people don't get how monumental a task it is. Again, this is going to be the defining issue for decades. As long as people don't get this, then we can't do what we need to do about it. And so you have, like, so here's the thing. So, like, in order to get all right, I guess I'll go into this. I've done shows about this, but basically, you would think that the issue of free will and climate change are unrelated, but actually they are related to a substantial degree. In other words, like, of these 56% of people, of Americans who deny climate change, you have to ask yourself, why are they denying it? Okay? One reason might be, well, some of them, I think a very small minority, are making a lot of money in oil companies or fossil fuel companies, or, you know, somehow they don't want to believe that climate change is happening because, like, to the extent that they believe it and people believe it, they lose money. You know, their business is in conventional energy or whatever. And so, like, that's one possible source of denial. Another source of denial is that, like, well, you know, what scientists say could happen, you know, the sea level rise, the temperatures rising so that, like, you know, in several decades, vast areas throughout the United States will be arid, you know, won't be able to farm, and in other parts of the world it'll be worse. I mean, like the hurricanes and all. Just like the predictions, you know, going on, especially even like 50 to, well, the next 50 years or whatever, they're dire. And like going on to like 22nd century, you know, that's like, you know, sea level rise of 3, 6, 12 feet, when you have about, I think, 75% of the human population congregated among the shores. So, like, that means, like, all these cities, New York, Philadelphia, D.C., well, I'm not sure about Philadelphia, but a lot of these cities will be inundated, you know, like, so that would mean, like, having to kind of, like, just transport all this, you know, imagine these buildings. I mean, you can't, you know, I doubt you can build barriers to the sea level rise, you know, 12 feet, I mean. So anyway, like, it's important, it's dire. And so a lot of people deny that climate change is happening because they can't believe that God, nature, you know, whatever is controlling everything, because, like, we certainly aren't, would do something like that. Could, you know, there's something like so drastic and serious like that could happen. All right, that's another source of denial. But my guess is that, like, at least 10, 20, 30% of the denial, and that's a substantial, in other words, like, you'd think, well, all right, 10, 20, 30% of climate change denial, that isn't much. But no, in our climate, in our, like, in other words, it's a lot. You know, if we could just even get those people on board, it'd be a substantial increase. So what happens is, like, I'm running out of time. All right, basically, the reason they're denying this is, like, scientists are telling them, you, of your free will, are doing something so heinous, you know, with your driving and like, you know, all the things we do to create carbon dioxide and the greenhouse gases that are causing climate change are ignoring the issue. You know, scientists telling them, you're doing something so horrible, and people, you know, we're designed to, like, to need to kind of, like, value ourselves, you know, self-esteem, to have a self-concept of ourselves, not just of ourselves, but of people around us as good people. So, like, so this indictment by the scientists is so threatening to people that this is standard psychology. You know, there are studies, there's research. So when people are faced with such indictments, very often they deny what they're indicted about. You know, they say, so they end up saying, oh, no, I can't be, you know, I'm a good person. The people around me are good people. So that means that climate change can't be happening. It means that that we can't be doing something so horrible. Now, how does the free will enter into this? Okay, in order to feel indicted like that, you've got to believe in free will. In other words, like, if these people who are experiencing this kind of denial were told by the scientists and then, like, ultimately believed that they didn't have a free will, if the scientists were saying, listen, yes, we're doing this to the planet, but don't feel guilty because it's not our fault, because we don't have a free will, you know, it had to happen the way we did, then the hope is that, like, people would, from that perspective of absolution, of not having to blame themselves and others, be able to, like, to not go into the denial. Again, denial is an unconscious process. People, like, they deny climate change, they don't even realize why they're denying it, you know. So what happens is, like, so to the extent the scientists tell them, listen, this is happening, we're not causing it, so maybe to the extent that happens, people can look at the evidence objectively without having to go into denial and understand that, like, you know, 99% of scientists are telling us that this is happening, and And so, yeah, so it's wise, it's just smart, it's sane to believe these 99% of scientists. I mean, like, my God, the evidence for climate change is so, 2014 was the hottest year on record, and something like, I don't know, 15 out of the last 20 years, 18 out of the last 20 years have been the hottest on record and stuff. This is not coincidence. This has reasons. All right, so anyway, this is like, the reason I mention this is like some people say, well, fine, we don't have a free will, it doesn't matter. No, it matters hugely. It's not just about climate change, it's about how we treat each other. On a personal level, when we believe we have a free will, other people do things wrong, we'll blame them. And if they believe we have a free will, they'll blame us. And that creates a lot of conflict, it creates a lot of hostility, a lot of vengeance and revenge. It creates an unintelligent, competitive, just like non-compassionate world where people are so busy blaming each other that very often, both on a personal and societal level, we never get around to like actually thinking enough about what the issues are to understand them well enough to solve them. All right, so I'm tired. I didn't get much sleep last night because if I had a free will, I would have fallen asleep when I wanted to. We got less than a minute. All right. Again, thank you, Chandler. That was great. Great segment. Again, people do not choose to be addicted. Who would choose to be addicted to cigarettes? It's absurd. All right, so we'll be back next week. Next week we're going to talk about randomness. Chandler's got another segment on why there actually is no such thing as randomness, and so we're going to like relate it to the free will question. And again, he did an excellent job. I checked out the video before. So also, like, we have our Manhattan show. We're live every other week. We're going to be live. Well, this isn't live, but anyway, we're live. So we will be back, and again, we'll be doing this until you get this. Understand that, like, free will is absolutely impossible. Okay, thanks for watching.